There is nothing more important to parents than the health and safety of their children. The instinct to protect is universal, and parents want to be assured that their children are safe from harm, not only when they are at home, but also when they are out of sight. School is a child's second home, and because children spend so much of their lives in school, it's important that school environments are as safe as they can be. The increasing incidence of childhood illness, combined with emerging science that links many of those illnesses with exposures to chemical toxins, has precipitated an increased interest in the quality of environments where children spend time. And recently, the products used to clean and maintain schools have come under increasing scrutiny, prompting many schools to develop and implement green cleaning policies to address this concern. Decision makers, faced with the task of developing these new policies, must consider that children are fundamentally different from adults, that exposure patterns for children are unique, and therefore that green cleaning standards which protect children will necessarily be more stringent than those for adults. Children are fundamentally different from adults in several ways. They live in their environments in ways that adults do not. They lie and play on floors, sprawl on desks and tabletops, and roll in the grass.
Certainly schools are a unique environment for children, and children are unique themselves. School is really the child's workplace. They spend 8+ hours a day, 5 days a week minimum there. So the counterpart of adult occupational medicine is pediatric medicine focusing on exposures in schools.
Dr. Joel Foreman is the clinical director of the Pediatric Environmental Health Unit at Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York City.
One of the other ways in which kids are different than adults is that they're in unique developmental stages, particularly young children. Most brain growth in kids starts from a few weeks of gestation on through a few years of life, those early years. And then lots and lots of very important connections are then formed up through adolescence. In the area of exposure to inhaled chemicals, like cleaning chemicals, one of the biggest differences is the kids are smaller, so their airways are smaller to begin with, and they breathe faster than an adult, which means that if there's some concentration of a chemical in this room, and there's a 5 or 6-year-old here and me, the 5-year-old is going to be exposed to more of that chemical than I will, even though we're in the same room breathing the same air. And that's because they're actually breathing faster and more air goes in and out of their body relative to their size than for an adult like me.
The unique vulnerability of children to environmental toxins is compounded by the patterns of exposure which occur in school environments. Unlike most homes, schools are generally cleaned every day, leaving behind fresh residues of cleaning chemicals with which children come into contact. Chemical residues on desks, chairs, and tables can be absorbed through skin or accidentally ingested through typical hand-to-mouth behavior. In addition, many chemicals contained in cleaning products are volatile organic compounds which become airborne when used, and children are further exposed through inhalation. Some schools contain large areas of carpeting which can retain chemicals for months, or have inadequate ventilation or sealed windows which prevent access to fresh air. One school system which has successfully implemented a green cleaning program is the Baldwin, New York public school system, where Mike Sheehan is the director of facilities.
In the 1990s, we began to look at our pesticide and insecticide usage throughout the school district. Based on numerous reports, we felt it was time for a change. We were a pretty typical school district. We would have an exterminator come in once a week, spray chemicals whenever and wherever he felt it was necessary. We felt that was inappropriate and it was time for a change. Just about that time, the New York State Attorney General's office came out with a report on pesticides and insecticides and how it affects children throughout the state. In turn, our district created a health and safety committee that specifically addressed the usage of pesticides and insecticides, and we created a handbook geared specifically towards Baldwin. Once we were able to address the pesticide issue, we now took a hard look at cleaning chemicals. There were numerous reports at the time coming out indicating that the petrol-based products were having ill effects upon the children as well as the staff that are in the buildings. We decided to use a bio-based product as an experiment for a year in one of the elementary schools, and we found out at the end of the year the product worked just as well, if not better, than the petrol-based product. Now we use this product in all our schools on a regular basis.
Many of the chemicals contained in traditional cleaning products have been linked to significant health problems in adults, but only a handful have been fully tested for their effects on children, and virtually none have been tested for their synergistic effects, those occurring when products are used in combination. Cleaning products typically used in schools can be classified into three basic categories. Type 1 products are used daily for general cleaning. These should pose no health risks. Type 2 products are sanitizers and disinfectants. Many of these products contain registered pesticides and should be used only where necessary and not for general cleaning purposes. Type 3 products are used for floor stripping and finishing. These products usually contain highly toxic chemicals and should be used only when schools are not in session.
A lot of these cleaning chemicals, besides containing whatever it is that's supposed to be doing the cleaning, which are often solvents or petrochemicals, are intentionally made to smell nice, have fragrances added. And fragrances themselves are petrochemicals, are made from oil, and have their own health effects associated with them. They're still toxins in and of themselves.
As time went on, we were able to find out there are non-toxic alternative cleaning products out there that basically take the place of every product in use by my school district. Examples would be products that contain no fragrances or dyes, and also floor finishes that contain no styrene.
One of the most difficult issues facing policymakers is the determination of a safe level of a toxic substance, especially for children. Further complicating this issue is the fact that recommended exposure levels for chemicals in the environment are frequently reduced as new research becomes available. David Kincaid oversees the health and safety of the Great Neck, New York public school system.
In approaching this issue, we felt that the only level anybody should be exposed to any toxic material of any kind is 0. And if you're 0, you no longer have to talk about whether a particular level is acceptable. We used to be mopping our floors with a petrochemical-based product. We searched high and low, and we found a soy-based product that does just as good a job, and that's what we use right now. We know that the industry, in an effort to meet a so-called green standard, is simply taking a petrochemical product and diluting it with water, so that over a volume, the content of toxicity is reduced. However, it ignores the fact, again, that any portion of this toxicity can be extremely detrimental to children in particular, and people who have, exacerbated sensitivities. We feel we have had plenty of time now to evaluate whether or not our buildings are clean, whether they look clean as well as being clean, and whether they're acceptable to, all the standards that we believe are important. And they meet all of those criteria.
At the beginning of the last century, the most critical public health concern in the United States was infectious disease. Today, that concern is environmentally triggered illnesses: asthma, cancer, endocrine and immune system disruption, and neurodevelopmental disorders, problems which are increasingly diagnosed in young children as well as adults.
Change is never easy. When we first looked at alternative products, we got the same old stories that it's not going to work, the products are expensive, the staff doesn't want to change. If you take this program step by step, slowly and methodically implement this program, keep everyone involved throughout the process, this will succeed beyond your wildest expectations.
We are no longer supporters of an attitude that says, well, you can't do it. In fact, quite the contrary. We are supporters of the fact that you can do it and should do it.
When we have so many choices that are safer and don't contain these products, it seems like being cautious and choosing things that don't contain these chemicals is the way to go.
As scientists begin to uncover more of the links between human health and environmental toxins, it is imperative that we help protect the health of children and all other school personnel by employing the highest standards for green cleaning products.